Hello gardening friends, this is Chantal from Peaceful Living NH Nursery. Today I thought I would give you kind of a garden tour of this flower bed over here and show you what's in bloom so that you can kind of plan your garden month by month and have something blooming every month of the year for you. Of course, we are in New England, it snows over here, so we're probably not going to have something blooming every single month, but at least during the growing season. And you can also plan for other evergreens for throughout the cold season that we have over here. So let's first start with the star of the show over there. So if you can follow me. This plant right here, this is the Incredible Hydrangea by Proven Winners. We are having a heat wave right now, so it's frying a little bit, but it has been blooming for such a long season. I would say at the beginning of last month, we are in July right now, and I'm gonna bring my head closer to it. You can look how big this bloom is. This is why it's called the Incredible, because these blooms are gigantic, and I have been watering it. Careful, don't fall. Careful, careful. Okay. I have been watering it every other day, I would say. I have this bed on irrigation, so it's faring okay, I would say, with this heat wave that we've been having. You can see the foliage is doing really well over here. Look at that, it's getting really big. We also have, whoa, something poked me. We also have some tall phlox growing through it. I've been trying to get the tall phlox out of here, but it just seems to keep popping up, and the deer or groundhog or something have been enjoying it, but at least they've been leaving the hydrangea alone. Right next to the hydrangea, we have this beautiful betony over here, or stackies, and this has been blooming for, I would say, at least 4 weeks now, and you can see all the different bees that are all over it, and they're very gentle. You know, I'm right up against them and they don't do anything, including the bumblebees. They just kind of leave you alone as long as you don't get in their business. But this is such a beautiful color, and I have expected this to be a little bit shorter, but it's about, I would say, almost 3 feet tall next to this beautiful hydrangea. I think it creates a beautiful contrast in here. And then right next to the betony, we have over here, this is Veronica spicata, or spiked speedwell, and this also has been blooming for about 4 to 5 weeks. And you can see as it continues to bloom, the blooms kind of go higher and higher in length, and they continue to bloom up top. You can see here it's kind of creating more blooms right there, so it will stay in bloom for such a long season. And then once it's done blooming, you can shear it back by, I would say, half, and it's going to flush another set of blooms for you. It's really beautiful. I love the contrast in the colors over here between the kind of magenta pink with the blue over here and the white from the hydrangea, creating beautiful contrast of colors. And also the leaves are slightly different between the betony and the Veronica over here. And then on this side of up against it, this kind of seated itself over here, but this is black-eyed Susans, and these are just really nice because they do kind of naturalize. They are a native to us over here in New Hampshire, and I love the contrast between this weigela over here, the dark foliage, and the black-eyed Susans. The black eye in the black-eyed Susans kind of reflect that same darkness of the foliage and the weigela, and it's just really beautiful. I really love that. And these will bloom for such a long season, and you can also shear them back. They're super easy, they're drought tolerant, they're just wonderful, fantastic plant for most environments, I would say, and the pollinators love them as well. And these, I think they're also a native flower. I don't personally love them, they just kind of seed themselves, but from a distance they kind of look nice and meadowy. I will be weeding these out just because I personally don't enjoy them, but they're okay for now. And then on this side over here, got a weed right here, but this plant right here, it's very beautiful. I love it for its kind of ethereal form that it has. This is Gara, Gara Linmary, or I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. It creates these beautiful white blooms with a little bit tint of red or pink in the back right there, and it continues to bloom all the way up the stem, and it blooms all season long from, I would say, the end of May all the way throughout the fall until either frost or a little bit after frost even. It's such a beautiful plant because you can have it even in the front of the border and have something in the back, and you could still see through it because it's so, you know, see-through. It's so ethereal and just kind of light and airy, and I just love that about it. Now over here I have some phlox. It would have been in bloom by now, but the deer just keep munching on it, and you can see right here there's a new set of blooms that are growing. There is a technique that is called the Chelsea chop, which basically you reduce the height of your phlox, because this is tall phlox and it tends to grow about 5 feet tall. So if you want to reduce the height of your phlox, you just come back and kind of cut it about 2 to 3 feet high, and it's going to bloom a little bit later. And that's basically what the deer did for us over here. So so this is going to be a little bit shorter than the hydrangea over here, and it's going to create this beautiful contrast, kind of repetition of color between the betony over there in the back with that magenta color. This phlox is also going to have that kind of same color over here. I think I would like to in the future put something evergreen in this corner right here, just to hide the foliage from this plant right here. This is bearded iris, and it is done blooming, and you can see this is what it does after it's done blooming. So, you know, all you have to do is just come back and snip it at the base over here and just clean it up a little bit. But it does fry a little bit in the summer like that. I just leave it, but if I plant something evergreen in front of it, I think that will hide it and it will be better. And then over here, careful. On this side, don't bump your head. Careful. This is the powwow wildberry echinacea. I had a giant row over here along this side of this powwow wildberry, but every single season I have this stinking groundhog that just keeps and digs up all the plants that I have in here, destroys them, eats them. I mean, look what he's doing right there. He just ate up all the tops, and it seems like no rodent or deer repellent is, you know, he's just unfazed by any of these things, and he just keeps eating everything. So I'm not sure what to do. If you guys have any advice, please let me know. I want to get rid of this groundhog because he's destroying everything. Anyways, so over here behind this, oh, let me just tell you a little bit more about this powwow wildberry. So this is about as high as it grows. This is about 24 inches tall. Beautiful color on it. And I love just the contrast of the different colors. This is a little bit warmer than I usually do, but it works out really well in this bed, and it creates a beautiful contrast between the hydrangea over here and then this catmint that right now it's done blooming, but it's going to start again. You can see right there we're having some fresh blooms right here, and this new set of blooms are going to start on this new foliage right here. So all you have to do, which I will do hopefully soon, is just come back and shear all of these dead blooms, and that's just going to encourage more blooms. It already is going to start putting on more blooms, even if I don't do anything. But just shearing it back will clean it a little bit, and it does seed itself if you don't take these blooms out, but not, you know, super vigorously. It's okay. And with this echinacea, or all echinaceas really, if you just leave them, they're going to create seed heads, which they look beautiful in the winter with the snow kind of piled up on top of them, and in the late fall they're a wonderful source of food for the birds, especially when all the birds are kind of getting ready to migrate out of here. So I like to leave them to do that. You can cut them back and encourage more blooms out of them. So whenever you see a bloom that's kind of done, you come back and just kind of deadhead it and cut it below a set of leaves, and that's going to encourage more blooms. And then right here, this is a firecracker sedum. It's really beautiful just for the foliage that it has, and it creates beautiful contrast in this flower bed. But again, the groundhog has been just destroying everything. I had a huge set of it over here, and he destroyed a whole lot of it. The whole bed was covered with this sedum. And then in the late or early fall, it's going to start putting on some blooms that are kind of magenta, like a deep reddish magenta color. And it's going to bloom all throughout the fall, and it looks really beautiful. But even when it's not in bloom, it has a beautiful foliage color and contrast. It is drought tolerant. It's great for rock gardens, you know, xeriscape, if that's the correct way of saying it, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so it's a really wonderful plant to, if you want kind of a low maintenance garden, you can create a sedum garden, sedum and you know, cacti garden. Let's go now over to this side over here. Oh, and we can't forget the boxwood. This is an evergreen. It adds beautiful evergreen interest. You can leave it as it is and kind of just let it grow wild. I personally like to prune it, but now is a wrong time to prune it because it's going to fry if you do, because what happens after you do prune it, it's going to start putting on new growth, and because of all the heat, that new growth is going to suffer. So the ideal time that you want to prune your boxwoods at is kind of like when the weather is at like between 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the perfect time to prune the boxwoods. And it's such a short season, so you can do it either early fall or kind of mid to late spring. For us, at least in here in New Hampshire. We're kind of zone 5B, zone 6A over here, but this adds a nice texture and color in the winter, so we can have something to look at throughout the winter. And I'm gonna pull these weeds over here. Got some pokeweed everywhere. All right. Now on this side over here, I have this beautiful row of lavender. I did lose some of them, but I will replant those. This is the, what's this variety called? Let me try to remember. This is the Purple Elegance lavender. It is a shorter variety of lavender. Oh my goodness, the scent on this, oh, when you rub against it, just gorgeous. I love that. Oh, intoxicating fragrance. I just love lavender. It's one of my absolute favorite perennials of all the perennials in the world. Give me lavender all the way. So it has such a long blooming season. It starts kind of setting its buds, I would say, in June, and then it's going to bloom for a really long season, and then you can shear it back about halfway again, and that will encourage it to put another set of bloom. It is drought tolerant. It is heat resistant. The pollinators absolutely love it. And I mean, look at this, just if you can show them the row. This one here is doing amazing. And this variety has kind of a darker foliage than some other lavenders and darker blooms, and I really love that about it. I love the dark blooms that it has. The bees absolutely love it, and it's kind of a shorter variety, and it grows about, I would say, 18 inches long or so. I just want to say this, by saying drought tolerant, it doesn't mean that it doesn't need any water, because sometimes we do go through droughts and plants suffer, including lavender. So I do give it some water. There is irrigation over here, drip irrigation to it, but it doesn't get water every single day. Whenever the bed gets watered, it gets watered, but the irrigation I have slightly away from the root ball so that it doesn't kind of hit the root ball and causes root rot, because lavender is very susceptible to root rot, because it has a deep tap root, causing it to absorb moisture, you know, deeper from the ground. So if you do give it a ton of water, it is going to suffer. And some people will tell you don't fertilize it whatsoever. Personally, I think every now and then, maybe every other year or every 3 years. Fertilizing your lavender is not going to hurt it. It's actually going to help it. So I will be giving this lavender a little bit of fertilizer this year, and that should, you know, encourage it to grow a little bit bigger. Sorry, I'm weeding while I talk to you because, you know, why not, right? Do two things at once. More productive that way. Anyways, and then over here we have these cute little Veronicas. They're about to be done blooming. This is a variety of pink Veronica. I forgot the exact varieties because I've had these for several years now, and I'm not sure what they're called, but this is a short variety of Veronica, and it's really nice for the front of the border. It blooms for a long season. Again, you can shear it back just like the other Veronica. It is a Veronica spicata, another variety of that, or spiked speedwell, and it's going to bloom again once you shear it back. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the roses. Unfortunately, we have a giant deer problem. You have a lot of rodents over here, groundhogs, deer, all sorts of things. So I've been battling a lot with these. The deer seem to be repelled by the deer repellent, so I have put some deer repellent over here. They seem to have left them alone. I can see some growth on the roses finally. I wasn't able to do that earlier in the season. I was completely out of that. They kind of just munched them all the way down to the ground. Otherwise, this variety of roses is the Gertrude Jekyll. Has wonderful, wonderful old rose fragrance, which, you know, it has really beautiful blooms. I'm gonna flash a picture on the screen of actually what it looks like when it's in full bloom. Unfortunately, right now it's not, but I will be giving it some fertilizer to encourage it to bloom, and there is drip irrigation to it, so it is getting water. Roses like a lot of watering, especially in drought conditions, and I do treat them whenever I'm able to for insects and for black spot and such. So what I do use is I use all-season horticultural oil on them, and I avoid the blooms, and I spray that kind of early morning or late in the evening, because I don't want to harm the pollinators, of course. And that's going to prevent black spot. It's going to prevent a lot of rose diseases, powdery mildew, all that stuff, and hopefully we would never get rose rosette, because that's very contagious. Also rust and all that stuff. And it also helps with the insects as well. You can also do some what's it called, for fungal diseases. You can do baking soda, a mixture of baking soda and some other stuff. I forgot exactly what. You can also do copper fungicide. Again, you want to spray that when the pollinators are not out. Don't spray it on the blooms directly, only on the foliage, because that will kill the pollinators, especially the bees. They are very susceptible to fungicides because they actually have some certain bacteria in them that will be harmed, and that will cause them to die if, you know, once they touch the fungicide. But anyways, these would have been in bloom right now, and they would be really looking really beautiful. They are starting to put on some blooms, and hopefully we'll enjoy them very soon. But yeah, and right here, this is delphinium, and this is, I believe, the Black Knight delphinium. It's very beautiful. It does need some fertilizer. It has some chlorosis on it. It's a very heavy feeder, but I can come back here and cut these back a little bit, these bloom heads, kind of right to here, and it's going to encourage some more blooms out of these. These do require some staking because, you know, you can see kind of how they're a little bit wind and rain swept right here, but it's going to help give them some support if we do stake them, and help them to just, you know, do a little bit better. I do have some over here. Again, they're not doing great because they do need fertilizer and they're being attacked by the animals, but that's okay. We'll tackle this, and it's gonna look really nice. And then, of course, we can't forget this tree over here. This is a nectarine tree. It was loaded in bloom and in blooms and in fruits, but we have something like a chipmunk or squirrels, I'm not sure. They're climbing up here, taking the fruits and munching on them, not even eating the whole fruit, and then just tossing it and leaving it. It's really frustrating, but that's okay. We're sharing with the animals, I guess. I just got a little bit too late. I was a little bit too late on spraying all the repellents. Otherwise, we would have had a lot of fruits on this. It's okay. It's not a big deal. We still have a few. It did suffer a little bit from some fungal disease earlier this spring. I wasn't able to spray it, but it did push a ton of new growth, and the new growth looks so much healthier. Now, when you do like see leaf curl, peach leaf curl, or nectarine leaf curl, it does kind of, you can't really get rid of that on the leaves that are already there, but the new growth, if you do take care of that, it's going to be a lot healthier. I didn't do anything. It just, it stopped raining, and that alone was enough to help it to push new growth. This is our front flower bed over here, and I'm gonna say it smells really nice in here. I'm not sure exactly what smells nice. Oh, this hydrangea smells really nice, actually. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tour and, you know, learned something new and saw what's blooming right now in the month of July to help you design your gardens and plan them and have constant, continuous blooms throughout the season.